World with Jeff Styles. El Jefe, how are you, sir?
Let's call bunk on that right now. It was Tipper.
Oh, was it
Tip,
Tipper?
Tipper was the one. Al just he took credit for that. Tipper was fighting, obscenity in rock and roll and inventing the internet at the same time. Al, God, what are you gonna do with that guy?
It, I forgot they fought obscenity. I forgot that they fought obscenity in rock and roll and rap.
And they lost. Is Al through mending fences yet? That's what he was gonna do when he came back. Is he still out there? Staple gun?
Well,
I don't know.
I think the world was supposed to end 2 years ago, according to him. I'm not sure
We're
how.
we're catching up.
Yes, we are. Hey, okay, but just a side note, and I live in between, so I'm not the far left. Everything's got to be green, and I'm not the far right that acts like we don't impact our world. But how cool is it now that they can see the Himalayas for the first time? Los Angeles doesn't have the smog over it.
Wow. You know what happens when the smog clears in Los Angeles?
What?
UCLA. UCLA.
Ah,
What I did there. I think it's very cool. I mean, just the things you mentioned, and I mean, there are folks in Rome who are seeing portions of the Alps for the first time. Um, and I mean, what about Venice? They
yeah.
actually can see the bottom of the canals, and there are dolphins in the canals.
But we
Who
don't
knew?
affect things. Well, and see, that's why I'm saying I think if you live in the world where you think we don't affect things and we don't impact it, that's silly. But on the other hand, and see, I think there should be a fine line. I think this should teach us that there's got to be a compromise somewhere because we see things changing, not just the environment. I've noticed how people are acting. It has been so good to look on social media for change and actually see people helping people.
Well, of course we do. I mean, I'm not going to, we're not going to get into that debate right now, but of course we do. I mean, if you don't think that we have an effect on the climate, I'm going to go ahead and jot down a street address in a place called Chernobyl. You go check it out, or go talk to your grandpa if he's still alive and ask him about this interesting utensil his wife probably still has called the dust bowl in the kitchen. Yeah, of course we do. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous, but we've seen, I mean, a remarkable drop in even the particulates, other than pollen, in the air around here. I talked to a lady from TDOT today, a very good friend of mine, and the traffic has dropped off. As somebody who gets up out here in God's country and drives in and catches traffic every morning in the dark of the morning, I've seen a huge drop off, and they can tell. They can see. I mean, the emissions drop off is immediately measured, and it's there.
Yeah, we go through this hoping nobody we know gets sick. We don't like seeing anybody get sick. But I said this on another video I did. My daughter's 15, and we said this about the younger generation. They're around people, but they're staring at their screens. But now my 15-year-old has said to me multiple times, she can still see all her friends on her screens, but she's ready for people. She said, Dad, I'm ready to see my friends again. And I'm like, maybe this instilled a little bit of we're ready for humans now.
How the worm has turned. How many times have I done one of these with you? Exactly.
And how
Uh,
long have I been asking?
I know, I know. I mean, and I find myself, I mean, I text with friends back and forth, sending music links and stuff like
Pictures.
this. But now, I mean, my phone's blowing up all day, and I mean, my generation, and I am in the prone to being, possibly more susceptible to COVID-19. Unfortunately, I'll be 60 this year. My generation is now going to the screen more often. My wife this is her office. This is
Yeah.
Rebecca's home office. She sits here all day and does teleconferencing and video conferencing and all kinds of conferencing using these computers and machines. And we're doing more of it. And the kids, I think now that when it was available to them to get in the car and to go to the park and throw a frisbee, to do something, now that it's not available, they're going nuts.
Yeah.
That's what kids
Yeah.
do. I mean,
Well,
when it's
yeah.
not there, they want it.
Yeah, and that's what my daughter was saying. She's like, I just want to laugh with my friends again because laughing, and you know what? Well, laughing in person, there's energy. I talked about this to Rich Mazingo, and I do a radio show once a week. and you can attest to this way more than I can. But there is a difference between doing a really good show on the radio via
Oh my
telephone
God.
or in person. The energy's just different.
I don't even know if you know this, Clint. You know, when our first case in Hamilton County cropped up, it was the priest down at St. Paul's.
Yeah.
I have a particular club I belong to, and I'm not allowed to speak much about it, but it meets daily and it meets at St. Paul's. And when it turned out that the priest down there, who we don't really see, but we do, walk in the same hallways, touch the same doorknobs, same staff and maintenance people, when that happened, well, the club stopped meeting for a while, and there were about a dozen or so of us who decided we would just go ahead and self-quarantine. That was close to a month ago. And
Wow.
so, I mean, we went ahead and decided we'd do 2 weeks. Nobody took a test or anything like that. Well, that 2 weeks was up. Well, actually, it was 3 weeks ago today. 3 weeks ago today. And I mean, think about how much has changed in that time. Well, I went back and told my coworkers, the three people that I work with in a very tight studio, you've been there,
Yeah.
to do the morning show, what the situation was. And I said, if I've been dosed and I'm contagious, you guys have in turn been dosed too. Because I mean, at this point forward, I'm going to do this morning show and I'm going to go home. That's what I'm doing. So y'all make up your minds what you want to do. Do you want me to stay at home? Do y'all want to stay at home? What do you want to do? They said, well, you're probably right. I mean, if we've been infected, we've been infected. Let's just continue to do the morning show and then go home. So we kind of just did that. And we're still going in every morning. And we have separated.
I'm
We've done
noticed. I
social.
tune in. I see you
Yeah,
guys standing further apart, and when
yeah.
somebody's talking, everybody's kind of turning. I see it, but again, it goes back to that energy level too.
Yeah, nobody wants to give that up. And I am actually from my wife's, home office here. I'm looking right over the top of the screen to where I used to do the studio in the sticks back in 2017 when I broke my leg so badly. And the station that I worked for then was actually kind enough to come up and set up a Skype system. And I was able to sit there in the kitchen and do the radio show, but I was by myself. I could hear them and talk to them. The energy just wasn't there. I mean, you feed off each other. There's an aura in the room. You see people with tears in their eyes from laughing so hard. You can't help but laugh that hard. If you don't see that, you don't do it.
Or you can see when they're ticked off at you and are ready to jump
Yeah, yeah, and
jump
you can
in.
duck. You can
Yeah.
duck, and when you're not ducking, it just doesn't have the same
I'm
effect.
I'm just proud that you sat in a room with Skype. I'm hoping that they sent some tech up with you every day, or did you actually push the buttons on that one?
They didn't call it Skype. They thought I'd be scared. I think they called it Tom or something like that. But seriously, we were talking today, even just the celebrities, the people who do talk TV. Ellen, who I'm a fan of, I think
Yeah.
Ellen's a genius. She is clearly uncomfortable in this atmosphere. She's not having a good time. Others, like Kimmel, they're cool with it. I mean, for whatever reason, they have adapted. Others have not. Look at Colbert. He's ready to put a
Yeah.
gun in his mouth. I'm serious. If you're watching these people, they're dealing with it totally differently. I'm very grateful that we've been able to go in and do our show live. That's Nooga Radio, by the way, 7 to 10 a.m. Together in the morning, and then we just go about our separate ways. And so far, so good.
Yeah, I heard, and I can't remember where because I'm consuming more podcasts the last 3 or 4 weeks, but I heard somebody make the point that now that people cannot perform in front of live audiences, they're understanding why they invented laugh tracks, because there are some shows out there they're doing with no laugh tracks, and it's you can tell that people are just like there's nothing to bounce off of. It's just I'm
Yeah.
talking into this void and there's no reward or feedback.
Yeah, some shows, some performers are used to that. The ones that are not, that have that filmed in front of a studio audience with the immediate laughter or
Yeah.
gasps or whatever, when they're not there, they have no idea. They're at a loss. And you probably know, as a matter of fact, I know you know because I mean you've failed on camera how many times? Flop sweat
Right now.
instantaneously. Flop sweat is faster than lightning. And when you know something's not going right, poof, I mean, it's literally the blink of an eye, and suddenly you're in panic mode. And if you start hearing your voice begin to vibrate, you're toast, man. And you're seeing it happen with some people out there. I am actually one of the positives. I'm digging all of these little home concerts. You know how much I love music.
Yeah.
A huge passion of mine. And I think it was Lucas Nelson, Willie Nelson's son, that dubbed them quarantunes. Quarantunes.
Oh,
These little
wow.
home concerts. And of course, sadly, we lost John Prine. There are so many tributes out there, but all of these great shows. Paul Simon has done some fantastic things. All these legendary artists, and they're just playing in their living room or in their front yard, and they're doing these crazy covers of other people's songs, and they're really meaningful. And they need to do them, and we need to hear them.
I've also been noticing there's a lot of take the big names out of it. There's a lot of local people that are musicians. I've seen Roger Allen Wade. I've
Oh
watched
yeah,
Marty Von Schaff. I've watched. You can name it. I'm actually trying to get a guy Monday. He's agreed to come on with me. I think he's out of Atlanta, but I love his covers. The Marty Ray Project.
yeah,
Have you ever?
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
he's agreed to come on Monday, but I'm loving watching these folks do these things, even if they're not super well known. Now, Marty Ray's another level. He's pretty
Well,
well
this is
known.
how people might be discovered too. I mean, it only
Yeah.
takes one or two of these people knocking it out of the ballpark. And I mean, look at Lana Del Rey, who's now just I mean, massive pop
Oh,
star. And it began with one viral video, and it begins like that. Um, and I mean, I've got friends all over the world. This is the kind of stuff that they get into, and they're discovering new people. I mean, look at our local band, Strung Like a Horse. They've had this
yeah.
whole series going. It's just amazing, I mean, the inventiveness of people, and this the freak out videos. I mean, from Jack Black to our own Leslie Jordan, who was stuck in Chattanooga, a Chattanooga native, but he's been living in LA for so long. And now, I mean, they're literally going nuts. They don't know what to do. So they start filming themselves going nuts. And it's funny. And it's funny. And other people who are comedians, and they're coming up with stuff that they can do. It's really it's remarkable. I mean, what's the old saying? I mean, necessity is the mother of invention.
Well, I told somebody the other day about, as a matter of fact, I just had a conversation with David Carnes off Channel 3. He just did a video with me, and we were talking about not only will this change businesses, because I think they'll discover new ways to do, they'll be stronger and better if they get through this, but media is going to change. We've changed because now we've had to learn how to do things differently. And so when we come out of this, we'll just have other tools in our toolboxes now that we can go get stuff done with.
There's no doubt. I mean, I'm hoping that people will, as soon as we get through here, they'll run to fredpodcast.com and check out some Rockyology and some Storyville podcasts.
I was going to ask you real quick. Let's change it up because I promised I wouldn't keep you more than, 20 minutes at the max. We're already almost 15, 14 into this.
I've already tortured the dogs. My wife's got an incredible soup over here going. I'm good.
How are you liking podcasting? I know you like radio over at Nooga Radio, but how are you liking podcasting?
You know what? Since I actually kind of landed on these two, the products I just mentioned, uh, it's so much easier. I was, and you were among about 274 people who said, don't try to do the radio show on podcast. And I, of course, hey, you don't know what you're talking about. And I tried to, and it didn't work. And so I just started doing these weekly podcasts, and it's just me telling stories from my life. Unfortunately, I have been blessed with a very interesting life. You'll have to kind of tune in, I guess, or if you know me, you know this is the
Yeah.
blessing and the curse. And also the Rockyology. It's just my love for music. It lets me stretch out and do an hour-long music show, and the stories people find interesting. I mean, things happen to me that just don't seem to happen to other people, and I just tell the stories. It's easy, and it seems to resonate. It's
Also,
fun. It's fun. I enjoy doing them. It's not like work.
I told when we talked about a month or so ago, I actually, one of the things that I assumed, and I'm glad it came true, is that once you realize that in my opinion, one of your true gifts is the storytelling and your passion is the music. once you landed on that, it's going to become something you look forward to, because if you're having to think of what to say every day, that's going to last about 3 days. And you're going to be like, yeah, the hell with that. I'm not doing it. But telling stories, here's the other thing. When you become the storyteller you are, you're always developing new stories. You got stories ahead of you that haven't even been told yet. That's the cool
Oh,
thing.
boy, do I. Uh, I mean, as I just
Hey,
said,
Rebecca, get on and tell some stories about Jeff.
oh, I'll tell them all. I have no secrets. I got no skeletons in the closet. Well, I might have a few bones in there with meat still on them. I don't
Yeah.
know. But no, I mean, they'll all come out. No, if I have anything planned, it's an absolute guarantee that it will change between the time I walk in the studio door to record it and when we actually start rolling. I mean, it's so organic. It's crazy. The first one I did, the Storyville, was about the shortest fight I ever saw between adults.
One of my favorite. It was like 6 minutes, man. Is that 6 minutes?
Yeah,
It was a
that's all it
great
took,
story.
It was me whoop your ass on credit. And
I'll
it
be
was
honest with you
nerve.
though.
I didn't
Here's what
make up any of
happened.
that. It's all
Here's
true.
what here's what happened though when you told that story. There's not everybody, but at least a lot of the guys I know all of a sudden went back to the stories in my world. I related to it. I went, that reminds me of the time. I have a story where I was on the other guy. I got my ass whipped on credit. So
Yes, yes, more than a few times. There are
yes.
mud holes in me that got stomped back in the day. It's no fun.
Hey,
It's
I
no.
got into it one night with a buddy of mine up at Carson Newman, and he was a big old dude. We just had too much of fun one night, and I set him straight, I thought, for a couple seconds, and then he
Mhm.
set me straight for good. Well, we woke up the next morning, and we were in his apartment. I looked over, and he had these boxing gloves hanging on his wall, and I'm like, dude, are you? He goes, yeah. He was from Nashville. He had been like a Golden Gloves sitting net champ in like 85 and 86. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I put him in that. You got to learn to read a room, Clint. And from
No,
that
no,
point
you did
forward,
not.
I've read the room.
You read it wrong.
Oh, after that, though, there's an old song called Attitude Adjustment. After that, I read the room right. That was one of the,
Through one purple eye, yeah, I understand.
absolutely.
No,
But
see, and
that story you told reminded me of stuff.
I, I hope all of them do, and they get. Actually, I hope some of them do. I hope some of them don't remind anybody of anything. Uh,
Yeah.
just sometimes sit back and enjoy, and don't even try to do as I did or was forced to do. And the Rockyology thing has just been fun. I mean, because I do go digging through music, and the way that these services work, if you seek out one weird song, they'll send 200 more your way. And if you actually take the time to listen, there's just some incredible stuff out there, and that's pretty much what I try to do. I go digging through the debris of rock and roll so you don't have to, and try to come out with the nuggets. So, go check it out. But yeah, it's been fun. And since people are stuck at home, what else do they have to do? I mean, just go do it. So I was going to stop like everybody else. I was kind of stopping everything, and people were going, no, 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 no. Now is the time to
Yeah.
pile on. So why not? I mean, I'm
Well, I
very.
read the other day that podcasts are taking a dip during prime time, which is expected, because drive times aren't there. But they're up. They're going up on weekends and after hours because people are establishing new habits and new norms, and they'll go find content they like. I interviewed two bands that are local, and I sent them to some folks, but Mojo Whiskey and Seven Stones. And if
Okay.
you're looking for local people, I went to high school with one of the guys' dads that started Seven Stones and
You
Mojo
owe 'em money?
Whiskey. Huh?
No, then you owe them money? No, no, no. I'm just
No,
arguing.
no,
Jumped in.
maybe. Dadgummit, maybe. Uh, no, but I think that the reason I'm bringing that up is because if you're ever looking for local stuff, I did two podcasts from those guys, and the reason, and I'm not a music guy like you, but the reason I did it is because they are hustlers. They are working on their brand. They are working on their music. They are putting in the time, and they are hoping someday somebody shines the spotlight on them.
I don't want to sound like a politician, but I mean, there is some truth to the old don't let a crisis go by without taking
Yeah.
advantage. I mean, there is an audience out there. Hey, we watched, in mainstream, prime time, we watched the last episode of Modern Family last night, like a lot of people did. An incredible show that we watched for 11 years. And I also am almost halfway through the fifth season of Peaky Blinders.
I
Highly
love it.
recommend it. Highly recommend it. And I mean, that's Rebecca's superpower. You know that? That's her superpower. On
What is
Saturday and
it?
Sunday mornings, she gets the clicker and she finds weird shows and movies. And I can spend all day and can't find diddly. And she goes right to stuff, and it just becomes part of our wheelhouse. These shows or movies, and we go back and watch them again and again and again. She just has a knack for it. So yeah, I mean, there's content out there
I
everywhere.
have watched I have watched every season of Peaky Blinders twice, waiting for them to bring out the new one. Have you started watching Ozarks?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm,
it's
I'm
pretty
into
good.
Ozarks as well. I'm waiting on her. There are certain shows that we do not advance beyond unless we're there, and that's one.
I don't have that.
We,
I don't have that. I don't have that problem.
I think. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's
That goes
good.
into a whole different podcast, sir. But no, I mean, the thing is, I mean, this is you know me, and up until that 2017 year when I did break my leg, you couldn't get me to stay inside on a sunny day.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no way. My oldest son, who'll be 33 this year, he came and stayed with me during that period when I was laid up. I had 4 surgeries. He said that was his favorite time that he ever had with me because I couldn't leave. I couldn't just get up and run out the door and go do something. And, I guess really I got used to it. So I think I've been sort of socially distancing, by force for the last few years. So the rest of the world's kind of caught up with me. And, I'm healthy again. As you saw some of the pictures that I sent to you earlier today, I
Yeah.
went on the Baton Doggy Death March yesterday to get the mutts out of the house so Rebecca could work. And, I'm still getting out there and getting in the sun and getting in the woods and getting in the mountains and the streams and the lakes and all the stuff that I love. But I have no qualms with sitting down on the couch and letting the day go by and actually just vegging out. That used to not be in my DNA.
It's good for you sometimes. I do that thing with Dawson, and we talk about getting outside, and sometimes, and the reason I think me and Dawson mesh well together is because sometimes we look at people that go outside in these big adventures, and that's awesome. And I think I've done some, and I love doing them. But I think we forget that outside sometimes, especially in the world we're living in now, is simply a walk around your block or going for something that's you don't have to plan. It's just get out, go.
That's what I did yesterday. It's just my block happens to be 10 square miles and it takes a while. But
Of country.
yeah, we live way out here. Yeah, but I know Dawson. I know he's the same way. He's the
Yeah, oh
same.
yeah.
And you
Yeah.
know what? He and his first wife, they actually did the AT for their honeymoon.
Yeah.
That's special right there. And so yeah, he's an interesting sort. Only an interesting sort of people will take that on. But yeah, and you've yet to come visit me. You've yet to come visit me.
I,
I want
I
to
don't remember I don't remember you
that.
coming into East Ridge, man.
I
East
don't
Ridge.
want to. I go there every day to work. That's
Oh,
what it
that's
is.
true. I forget. That's where Nooga
Everybody
Radio
should have
is.
boxing gloves waiting for me. I just
Yeah.
have to shoot you.
No, I've learned how to read a room now, man. We just went through that. I've learned how to read rooms. Hey, I did this earlier. I did a Facebook Live video with my daughter where she and I did the ultimate family friendly did you know, which so people could tune in and just watch. We had like 70 comments and a bunch of people
Sure.
watch. So I thought what I would do, and I did this to David Carnes. It was pretty cool. I'm just going to ask you 2 or 3 of the did you know questions so we can find out a little more about El Jefe.
Okay.
Here we go.
Are these
Now,
real?
yeah,
You're
these are
not
real
making these
questions.
up? Okay. All
No,
right.
no. I've got my piece of paper right here. If you could only eat one for the rest of your life, would you rather eat pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
See, that's what I said, and everybody calls me boring. I think pancakes. I like a waffle, but I
Hang on a
like a
second.
pancake.
Hand me that mix up there, darling. Hand me that mix up there. Rebecca's in here. Have you ever had Aretha Frankenstein's pancakes? Aretha Frankenstein's pancakes are superb. If you look on the box, they actually have a
Or
quote from Jeff Styles on here. It says Aretha Frankenstein's pancakes are Abbey Road era Beatles. The rest are Ringo solo stuff. Right there, Jeff Styles. Go ahead.
oh my
Keep
gosh.
on going.
No, let's see if I can help you some more product placement. So, got to pay for God's country house you live in.
Yes,
Let's see if you've got one for these 3. So if you can only eat one of these 3, French fries, tater tots, or onion rings, the rest of your life, only one.
onion rings,
Oh, okay. All
onion
right.
rings, fried crispy. Don't have them come stringing out on me and as sloppy
No,
old slugs. No.
like Anchors. You like Anchors onion rings? They got
Yes.
good onion
Thank you
rings.
very
Yeah,
much. That's very astute of you. The
thank you.
country needs more astutes.
Yeah, well, I'm an ass astute, so it's a
And
different kind
we
of
need more
astute.
alerts. Don't be absurd. Go ahead.
All right, let's see if I can pick out maybe one. Okay, here, this is a good one for you. If only one of these two could be real, would you rather have Bigfoot be real or unicorns?
No, Amy. Unicorns. Unicorns. I could ride a unicorn. Could
Why you
you
look for
imagine?
Bigfoot?
She says big. I'm gonna let that just stand on its own.
I'm
I'm
not
not
going
gonna
to
make
say
any
nothing.
comment on that whatsoever.
I'm not, I think we actually had a technical glitch, which will be good. I think
I
it saved your
know, no.
marriage. I
A
think it saved your marriage.
unicorn. I would ride a unicorn through downtown Chattanooga. Y'all would have to finally show me some respect. How
All
you
right,
gonna
this
not respect a man on a unicorn?
El Jefe unicorn. All right, here we go. This is a tough one, man. This has been a tough one. Would
That
you
was not
rather?
tough. All right,
No,
go
this
ahead.
one's tough. Would you rather be able to read people's minds or know the future?
Read their unicorn's minds. No, no,
What's that damn unicorn thinking?
no, no. There's this ancient Greek myth where I already know the future. That my blessing, my gift is that I know the future. My curse is that nobody believes me. It sucks. It sucks. Everybody just thinks I'm full of it. If they would just listen, that's no good. Trust me.
Okay, so let's go back. So, which one would you rather have? People believe that you're not full of crap, unicorns or Bigfoot? Which are the odds? What are the odds that we discover one of those three?
Bigfoot riding a unicorn, reading your mind, and
Yeah.
telling me what you're going to do next so I can bail.
I don't know what Rebecca's putting in that good homemade soup she's making, but I
I haven't
want
had
some of
any
it.
yet. I'm talking to you.
I want some of it. Bring some to Easter the Ridge next time you come. Little
All right,
Tupperware
bud.
dish. Hey man, listen, we're almost at 30 minutes. This has been awesome, especially since I know this is not a world that you're super comfortable in. So I appreciate Rebecca being your tech and your IT and getting you hooked up. I'm glad you came on with me. It was fun. If you like it, maybe down the road we can do another one. But I appreciate it.
No, it was fun. She just Googled it up on the interwebs and it was easy.
Yeah. And I want to go on record, Rebecca. I know you're listening.
Yes.
I, as a good friend, did not mention what he told me not to mention.
Yes,
Thank
she's
you.
curled up in a fetal position now. Thank you.
I just want to know that I did not bring up anything that happened prior to us going on the air.
Thank you.
You're
We're saying
welcome.
this now.
All right, guys. Hey, thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, man. Have
See
a
you
good one.
guys.
Stay
Bye.
safe.
Yeah,
Stay
y'all be
safe.
healthy. Y'all be healthy.